Hi, I'm Jim N4BFR. Happy Sunday. It is August 9th, 2020. Here are your COVID 19 daily and weekly updates for Georgia. We'll start with the daily numbers, and we saw a very robust day for testing today. I had to go back and look. I don't think we've ever seen a Sunday that had 37,000 viral tests. So, really busy day for testing. And we saw a mixed set of numbers here. We certainly had a robust, just below average number of cases, 3169. But what's interesting here is the percentage positive at only 8.5. We have not seen an 8.5 or a number out of double digits since June 23rd. Does this mean that the spread is slowing down? Possibly. It could also mean that testing is being driven by some external factor that we're not aware of that might just generally make more tests needed, like a freshman class needs the test before they go to college, or a school district is requiring all their teachers to test, or something along those lines. So, don't know that data for sure, but just looking at the last couple of days, there could be a factor in there that we want to consider when we say, oh, things are going down. Definitely case numbers staying the same, higher than average tests. So we'll watch and see how all that works through over the next couple of days. Let's go on before we do hospitalizations and talk about the death rate. Deaths were down to 13 for the day. However, the 7-day average still sits over 50 at 51. And as I get into the weekly, I'll really get into some of the info about the current death rate. New hospitalizations right on par with what we saw last week, but it's worth noting that the 7-day average is down about 20 week over week. So that is positive. That's not quite 10%, but it's definitely in the direction we want to see it going. And I'm sure that people who work in the hospitals will be glad to see fewer admits as we go forward. It did kind of trickle down into the active hospitalizations a little bit. We ended at 2865. That's down 100 from last Sunday. So we know the Sundays tend to go down, and then the beginning of the week tends to pop back up. So we'll watch and see where that number rebounds to. But you can see we're kind of gently sloping on the curve here. And as I get into the weekly data, I'll talk a little bit more about that. Let me go into CCU data real quick. And here that is. Did not have CCU data yet from Sunday as of 5 o'clock, so we'll show Saturday's data, which we didn't have yesterday. So we're typically running a day behind here right now. 2941 beds in use, bed capacity. That's a little lower than we've been seeing. A few beds came out, but not any kind of meaningful number. 2514 is the beds in use, which takes us to an 85% usage rate. Not alarming, certainly improved over the 87s we've been seeing, but I'll just point out the region H there. Oconee area is still maxed out, and they've been maxed out for a couple of days now. So that's the central Florida area that is east of Macon, around the Milledgeville area and into that part of the state. Hope for them to get some relief soon. We see Kennestone continue to run hot at 95%. Tift region is at 93%. They're kind of hot as well. Floyd Medical area up in Region C, up in the northwest corner there, they were dropping back down. So they had been in the 90% range, and they're down under 90% right now with 21 beds free. I do not have a daily school update for you today. It took me quite a bit to get the weekly update done, And as I started to look through some of the data, I'm seeing a lot of duplicate information where, 9 cases in Paulding County, or there's 100 cases total, and I've got to sort through what's new and what's not new. And that's going to take me a little while. So watch for the next school information update tomorrow so I can get through all that data and parse it out so I'm not creating duplicates on that list. That means we're going to go ahead and jump to the weekly data for Georgia. Testing was up again, and that's healthy for sure. The other thing that I think we're going to see is we have another testing site coming on I guess somebody called it somewhere a mega testing site. Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport is going to be able to do 5,000 tests a day. That starts tomorrow. Watch, people will be, federal officials will be in town for the opening of that, so that's going to be highly publicized. But there's another 5,000 a day coming on at this point into that testing number, so that is positive. Cases were down 7% week over week. That's what you want to see. I really kind of liken it to the fact that we're on this 5-week, you could almost say 6-week plateau. Let's call it a 5-week plateau of cases over 20,000 a week, which means 56%, more than half of all COVID-19 cases in Georgia have been diagnosed in the last 5 weeks. That is a pretty high number. The other high number to think about is we passed 200,000 cases total for Georgia earlier this week. We have about 10.7 million residents in Georgia. As we've gotten another couple of days into the books, we have now passed the 1 in 50 mark. So one person out of every 50 in Georgia has or has had COVID-19 at this point in time. That's a pretty significant number, and we'll watch that coming down. That means one person on every high school football team has probably had it, or one person in every bus, every city bus, not city bus, a Greyhound bus holds about 50 people. So one person on the bus could, has it or probably has had it. Just to give you kind of a little perspective of what that means as you're going around and doing your daily thing. New hospitalizations, we saw a nice drop there. It was down 400 week over week, which is a 20% decline. Very pleased to see that. And I'm sure the healthcare workers are as well. That's dropped the most. The number of critical care beds in use, though, is running, like I said earlier, pretty close to the same as last week. So there's still a lot of severe cases there, but there's not as many admissions happening. Not sure if one's driving the other or if we're seeing the impact of something along the lines of the CCU is staying up because we have the bed so we can put people into CCU, even though we may not have 2 weeks ago because we didn't have the room, if that makes sense. So maybe there's an equal amount of critical cases, but now we have more room to handle them. Don't know that for sure, but that's one of the things the data may be telling us. And then finally, unfortunately, I'm going to have to wrap up on the fatality data, which is unpleasant for sure. This is the 3rd week in a row that Georgia's had the worst week for deaths since the pandemic began. We had over 1,000 deaths in the last 3 weeks. That is a very significant number. We are averaging now 51 deaths a day. That's more than 1 death every 30 minutes. And we're now at 4,200 deaths total. We passed the 4,000 mark earlier this week. And I'll tell you what, the rate we're going right now, we will pass the 5,000 mark before Memorial Day. I'm sorry, Labor Day. Memorial Day was passed. I always get those two mixed up. We'll pass the 5,000 mark before Labor Day is my unfortunate prediction. So we will keep on watching that, and hopefully that slows down quite a bit. But we'll see. All right, well, as I mentioned, no school update today while I kind of taken some extra time to sort through the data and see if we can't get some of the duplicates sorted out so we're not over-reporting that number. So I will have that for you tomorrow along with the regular daily update. Maybe we'll have the Sunday CCU data to tie along with the Monday CCU data. Remember, Mondays are not our heaviest day typically, so expect a lighter day for particularly for deaths and for cases. So we'll see what happens as we roll along. In the meantime, if you have any questions, join in on the Reddit conversation. There's a link down in the description that will take you to today's conversation. You can jump in on the daily or the weekly. I'll post a link to both there, and that will let you kind of get involved. Also, if you have any school closings that you may not think have caught my eye, may not have been posted in the Coronavirus Georgia subreddit, please go ahead and message me over there, and I will try and accommodate that in my listing as well. There are a couple of people who have told me, hey, I know this is going on, it'll probably be in the news tomorrow, but I don't want to, I want to make sure it gets counted, but I don't want to have my name in there, and I will be glad to kind of keep names out of that if that helps you get your information out and makes you feel a little more comfortable. So that is it for a Sunday. Hope you all are ramping up for a good work week, and we will talk to you Monday evening. Thanks.